Spring is here. The sales are starting. Now is the time to be in the game. We want to talk about it, talk about why it is so important as creatives that you guys are running sales and promotions this time of year. And then we will, of course, get into your questions live. Any and all questions you guys have. Art, photography, creative, branding, marketing, pricing, negotiation, email capture. Email is a huge one right now at this time of year because we're always inevitably getting ready for the end of the year, the fourth quarter. But Nick, give us some intro colors. I get everything spun up here.
Spring art selling season. You guys see that? I got to like point down below, right? You guys see that down there? Yeah. Spring art selling season. Now that for those of you who have been, joining these lives that we've been doing every day, every couple of days, you've been hearing us banging that drum, right? The spring art selling season is a huge deal, right? Like this is it's a time that we wait for, just kind of like the fourth quarter of the year. This is when things start really kicking up for art selling. The sun's out. People are thinking about decorating, all that stuff.
Every year. Every year.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? It's actually no different than like, it's kind of a known thing that like the real estate market is like, the time to go on vacation. If you're a real estate agent is like in the winter. Nobody buys homes in the winter.
Jason Fried just relisted his house in Chicago, which is a beauty. I don't know if you saw that tweet. And he's like, now that the season's over, this baby is back on the market.
Exactly. And it all makes sense when you think about it, right? It's like families have to move like in the summer, you know what I mean? So they like, or when school's out, which is actually still spring, right? And like, there's just a lot of activity that happens. There's art shows, art fairs that are happening, which is programming people's minds into, they're starting to see more art out there. They're thinking about buying things and stuff like that. And so it's just it's an amazing time. Within the spring art selling season, you've got some major holidays. You got Easter, you got Mother's Day, you got Father's Day, you got a couple other, big ones that are in there. And so, like the number one thing that we can do is just give you guys as much urgency as possible to get your act together, get started. If you're launching your business, and you're launching your art business for the first time, now is the time to get started. Like if you were waiting for a time, now is the time to get started. If you were looking to change things in your business and try some things new, now is the time, because your efforts that you put into your business from now through the rest of the year are really going to pay off. We're now at that period of time, right? So spring art selling season, a big deal. And if you guys have any questions about the spring art selling season and all of that, drop any comments.
Yeah. And everybody runs promotions during this time of year, and it's just, there's something to do psychologically with whether the weather is actually comported to this reality or not. It's like, okay, we're done with winter. I'm outside. I'm excited. There's excitement in the air. Now what I want to do is all the stuff that I couldn't do when I was hibernating and sitting inside in my pajamas. Right. So it's a wonderful year to get your acting gear. Okay. And our job is to make sure you guys feel motivated, inspired, and have the tactical know-how about what to do about it, right? About taking advantage of it, because all the other retailers, by which I mean all of them, big to small, that are successful, all know this reality. And so they are all making extra noise, doing extra marketing at this pivotal time of year to try and capture as many new customers. And art and photography are a wonderful fit for this. Okay. They just are. They year after year after year. And what most of your competitors are going to do are sit on the sidelines because they don't have this pertinent information. Right. And, it's this notion of like, the best time to be marketing is when you have a tailwind. Right? The best time to be flying is when you have a tailwind. You have a wind at your back, pushing you a little bit further, making your customer, your consumers, your potential buyers just a little bit more likely to close and purchase something from you. And I'm constantly showing like the various different huge retailers, right? And I've had Amazon up on my phone for quite some time. It's like, why is Amazon doing it? Because Amazon knows a whole bunch of people are going to be spending a whole heck of a lot more money than they were the previous 3 weeks and month. Right. And it's all just a game that repeats year after year after year. But that being said, anyone that's watching on any of the platforms, if you've got questions, we're here to answer. We love answering them. We love helping. We love giving a taste of sort of some of the things that we do internally is a business with our customers all year long, because guess what? Artists and photographers have to creating the work. We can't help with that part of it, by the way, Nick, not our department. And then marketing and selling the work. And what always happens? You guys are alone on that journey, right? You have to search Twitter, you have to search YouTube, you have to go and sign up for newsletters and read blog posts. And we find it so helpful to have somewhere, or our customers should say, it's so helpful to have somewhere where you can just ask questions. Okay. Like, everybody struggles with the same stuff, you guys, all artists, all photographers, all creatives. And it's really helpful to hear about what other people are struggling with and how it might apply to you and how it can help you capture emails, start having conversations about purchasing your art, okay, and growing the business. So that's what I would say. You want this thing up on the stage?
Yeah, I mean, we might as well, because this is the spring art selling season digital report that we produced. Do I need to blow it up again?
Yep, do it.
Does it? I don't. Looks like it's getting smaller, not bigger.
Because go full screen with it. See if that does anything.
Go full screen.
You see, there's bottom right hand corner. There's a full screen button.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, good. That went into a better landscape. I think that was the best it's going to be.
That good?
Yeah, it's as good as it's going to be. Go for it.
Can you see anything? Can you see these things?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys can see here, right? The spring selling season digital report. I think like some of the things to notice here is, like, when you look at the chart, the annual art buying patterns, like, you see how there's this big period during the spring season where art sales really, really jump up, and it's the biggest time in comparison to like the fourth quarter, October, November, and December. And so that's what you really want to be motivated for. This is the time. These are the times where, when they're gone, Pat, you don't get them back.
No,
they're gone. They're gone forever, and they're not coming back. And this is when the buyers are pulling out their wallets. And you can see it's like we're in March right now. So we're at the very, very, beginning of when this is about to happen. So that's why your time right now is like perfect if you are looking to start taking things a little bit more seriously with your art business.
Will you Slack me the link to that just to see whether or not I can get it up on the phone? Did you
yeah, absolutely.
I might be able to do a better version. Because, it's not all the time we have beautiful graphics for you guys to show off. And so if we've got the beautiful graphics, I want you to be at least be able to see them.
Yeah. And it's so important. It's like, this is the information that you got to be thinking about and you got to know, So like here, Easter World Art Day, that's another one that I forgot, right? April 15th, Mother's Day art buying season begins. That is like a 4-week period, you guys. Like, this is no joke. It's one of the biggest art buying times of the year. And then you've got the Father's Day, segment as well, which is around 7 days. Okay. So these are the really, really important dates that you want to have your marketing strategy totally dialed in for. Marketing in advance, taking advantage of all of them, because these are the times when the sales are actually happening. Okay.
Yeah. And let me just go back to like highlight, the peaks in the graph here, right? Like, everyone knows the end of the year is the most important. Okay. And that's not going away anytime soon. Q4 is the big dog, but the spring selling season is actually the next highest peak. And so we have these conversations of like, make sure you are doing active marketing, letting people know you exist, letting people know you have these incredible creations for sale during the peaks. That is when the wind is at your back. That is when all of these other retailers out there are spending so much money to froth up consumers to get them in a mood to spend. And our job as creatives is just to make sure that we water ski behind their massive advertising spend, right? Tell me where to navigate.
Yeah, so we got a question. Artist NR, spring spike is when? Spring spike is in spring, right? So April, May, and June is what you want to be thinking about. And it's right around the corner, right? That's why we are banging this drum. You'll hear us banging this drum even more. But like, you guys, everyone that's hearing this, you have a chance to take advantage of it. Like, you literally can take advantage of it. And what we always say is, with 14,000 members at art storefronts, right? We have the ability to see all of the top sellers, right? And the one commonality amongst all of them is all of them are taking advantage of all the biggest art selling times of the year. And the people that we see that are not selling well are the ones who are not. Okay. Yep. And it's totally common sense. It's like, if I asked you the question, like, how good do you think your art business is going to do if you are not in the game during the biggest art selling times of the year, actively marketing your business and getting eyeballs on your art when buyers are pulling out their wallets? You'd probably say, oh, I don't think that person is doing really well. It's like, exactly. Surprise, surprise. So I always try to say to artists, like, you may think your problem is I don't have enough pieces. I don't have this. I don't know what my pricing. It's like, actually, no, your problem is you just need to get in the game and just start, get in there when the buyers are pulling out their wallets. Maybe nothing will sell. You don't know, but you're not going to know anything. You're just going to be guessing until you actually just get in the game and get your art out there. Right.
Yep. Exactly right. Katie's asking, what is the best time to announce a nude painting on social media? There is no best time. Often and frequently, right? In as many different formats as possible, right? Like, one of the amazing strategies too that I love, like when you're producing new work, is to start showing it off when it's in process. Start building some demand for it when it's in process. Let people know that if they want to buy it now before it's finished, they can get a special deal on it. Like I love that trickery. So that's a just great thing to do in general. But there's never a perfect time to do anything unless it was yesterday.
And I think, Kate, first of all, welcome to the Art Storefronts family. Super glad you joined. And I think underpinning this question, you could let us know in the comments if we're right on. I think underpinning this question, Pat, is like, thinking that announcing a new painting is just one post, right? Yep. It's just one post and you're done. So you're thinking like, is there a perfect time of the day, like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday, of when I should announce this? And it's actually like, no, you should be talking about that new piece, 25 different ways. You should, what you ideally want to do is be teasing it and showing it as you're creating it, or progress photos and videos to get people excited about it. And the artists, that we see that are doing that well, oftentimes they sell the piece before it's even done. Done. Can you imagine that? It's like, I'm thinking about like, I know we've heard this a lot, but I'm thinking about like Matthew Locke and, some other people. And it's like, I can't even have work in a gallery because it's selling before I'm even finished with it. Like I'm selling it direct to my audience, which I want to do. That's what I want to do. That's where I'm making the most money from my art. But it's so funny because the way that marketing direct works, if you do it the right way, you probably won't have inventory, or you obviously will end up with some. You'll end up with some, But like, I think that's the more important way of thinking about it, is like, it's not just one post, it's lots of posts. Yep. Even if you finished it already, like you want to take different types of pictures of it, announce it with a, picture with a video, have it, in a video, have you doing a selfie video where you holding the piece, talking about it, your inspiration behind it. There's just lots of ways that.
What's the story? We're always with the story.
Yeah. Story, inspiration. Then a whole nother new post on a separate day is like, oh, here you can, did you know you can buy the original? You can buy this as prints. You can buy it on canvas. You can buy it as coasters. Whatever it is, the way that you're selling. There's so many ways to talk about it.
Did you just hold up a more, Dave? Coaster.
I did.
Coaster. Yeah. And so Kate, the tactical takeaway is like, think through the framework of, we don't get to see the movie, we get to see the trailer, right? And the trailer like teases us. And so you want to just tease it as many different ways as you can. And it's all about how many different times that you promote it and get people excited about it, and build up the anticipation of it dropping, right? It takes practice, and like the danger, the trap that everyone falls into is like, oh, I've mentioned this once, everybody saw it. No, you have to operate under no one saw it, so I have to mention it 25 different times, right? And that's like a really, really, really important way to think about it. And very, very few people I find do think about it, right? Now, is a bonus, okay, which is opportunistic, I imagine. But one of the things that I love to do is use the release of a new piece, okay, as an on-ramp to talk about a big event, right? And it's this notion of not only is my big Easter sale coming up, but I've got a brand new piece that no one's ever seen. Not only is April 15th World Art Day and I'm celebrating with the sale, but I'm going to be releasing a brand new piece no one's ever seen. Here's a teaser of that piece. I can't wait to show it to you. Not only, right? And the idea is that when you have these new pieces, they all represent marketing moments. But to me, they all represent like a soldier on the field and I'm the general, and I'm going to try and leverage that new piece release and meet my ability to talk about it to also build excitement for whatever else that I have coming up in terms of an event, right? And so you see those big dates up there, and these are the types of things that we can water ski behind, right? Which is very, very important. What were you going to say, Nick? You had something?
I was going to say that for Kate, since you're an Art Storefronts member, there is a how to properly release a new collection in the Art Business Vault. And Pat, I'll just send you the link. So you got it right there. You can show it on your.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just do it. You just do this one because I'm gonna have to log into Art Storefronts and it's gonna screw up my whole thing on the phone.
I did the wrong thing. Okay, I'll show right now. This is for you, Kate.
Yep. Sorry, those weren't. Oh, you have to reshare your screen, bud.
Yep, no problem.
You had it, and you pulled it off. And for everyone else that's watching, I got you.
Yeah, here it is right here. So in the Art Business Vault, how to properly release a new collection. So in the search bar, when you're at the front of the Art Business Vault, just type on like new collection and it'll probably just show up, yep, how to properly release a new collection. Here's a video for you that will show you, all the way that you should be thinking about it and how to do it.
Awesome. All right, back to our deck. And any and all questions you guys have that are just now watching, it's really funny. This one took like a while to spin up, and then the audience peaks after like 15 minutes. Just learning things, okay? Learning things going live, you guys.
Yeah, and then you get the CEO, literally giving a support article right to an Art Storefronts member, right? You never know what can happen on these things.
That's how we take care of things. And guys, I think like one of the important things too is, and by the way, this is not the pot calling the kettle black, okay? Or maybe it is the pot calling the kettle black, because I would have behaved this way as well. And I would have said, my art has absolutely nothing to do with Mother's Day. Therefore, I don't need to do any marketing around Mother's Day. Or flip the script, Nick, and say, my art has nothing to do with dads, okay? I paint pink flowers, okay? It has nothing to do with dads. And what we've come to learn in this business over the years, that just as much art or photography sells around these holidays for all sorts of reasons, as does it being a gift for Mother's Day or it being something thematic for Mother's Day. And what we do a lot as human beings, and this is super counterintuitive, it's Mother's Day, I'm going to buy what I want for me because I earned it, right? And people go out and purchase what they want. Right. So everyone like gets in their head that if my work does not correspond, it is not thematically related to this holiday, I don't need to do anything. I can just let this one pass me by. Nothing could be further from the truth. What we find is that like all of these holidays, they just whip consumers into a frenzy and have them more likely to spend money for whatever reason. And every time one of them comes around, I mean, you guys, one of the biggest days of the year, two of the biggest days of the year now that we have in terms of sales at Art Storefronts is Prime Day. Amazon Prime Day.
Yeah, what does that have to do with anybody's art?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And everyone who participates and does the marketing for it wins. The people who don't.
Yeah.
And it's a made up holiday, totally made up out of thin air. You start realizing that all these holidays, the vast majority are made up,
Yep.
Obviously the religious ones are not made up, but when you actually let's just be honest here. Okay. The religious ones are not made up, but they have been, what's the word for it? Like aggrandized or like taken to a whole new level, for the amount of money that it's like, that you have to spend, like getting Christmas lights on your house, getting a Christmas tree, it's like, it is turned into a multiple $1,000s a year, sort of a purchase and thing and enjoyable time nonetheless. Right. For many people, for the people who celebrate that. But understand that whether it's Halloween or Valentine's Day, all of these things are really well designed to take money, to get consumers in a spending mood, and we're just pointing that out to all of you guys, to understand that like this is really going on and this is part of the strategy, and so if you water ski behind this and you understand that, you're gonna understand how to better market. And Prime Day is such a great example. I'm glad you brought that up, because it is a perfect example of a holiday that has no meaning to anyone. It's completely made up and is one of the biggest retail days of the year.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
And look at this comment, and I love this comment from Zen Photo Journey. And I'm gonna have to get on my jump to conclusion, Matt, right? But this is another one of the things that like hold artists back is saying commercialized, right? Like I don't know if you're meaning it this way or not, but this is just I'm riffing on this. Guys, it does not mean you have to be a used car salesman, a mattress salesman, or a big discounter. Okay. It does not. These periods of time during the year when the wallets are out, okay, when the wallets are out, is just a great time to have your marketing message in the water. There is a higher likelihood of you generating sales and commissions during these times. It speaks not at all to the language or the discount or the scarcity or however you decide to approach it. Okay. Anita, it was an Office Space. Okay. Reference my jump to conclusion.
Love that movie.
Yeah. It's got it. You do you. Okay. We don't care how our customers decide to leverage their language. If the discount is anything at all, if it has scarcity or how you go about it. All we know is like, the fishing analogy is the best time. Turns out, if you go fishing really early in the morning, it usually works better than the afternoon or the middle of the night, right? Because that's when the fish are biting. All we're saying is on these big holidays, the fish are biting. Okay. Yeah. So you don't have to feel like you're being commercialized or you're coming off of your brand or, you're some sort of used car salesman. You just have to ensure that your marketing messages are in the water, that you're in the boat doing fishing when these huge holidays are approaching. And that's it. And that's the lesson, right? And again, I don't know if that was the tone of your comment or not, Zen Photo, but that's all it is. That's all
really
it is.
Important points.
Yeah. And guys, you have to decide if you want to have a hobby or if you want to have a business, right? Like Peter, I love this comment. You paint only for you. That's awesome. That's totally okay. Peter's deciding that his art is for him, and that's awesome. But if you decide that you want to have a business, I take issue with these notions that there's some sort of magical formula that's come out of the mind of artists and photographers that generates incredible business returns. Okay. The same rules apply to artists and photographers that apply to just about any business out there. That's it. That's right. There are times when it's advantageous to be doing your marketing. There's times where it's less so. It's always advantageous to be doing your marketing, but there's times where it's more so, right?
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I love that. I love that you brought up that comment, and I forget the name of the gentleman that it was, because it's
Zen
like
Photo Journey.
Zen Photo Journey. Yeah, because it's like you guys create art, and the way that you might not want to sell any of it, and that's awesome, right? Like that is absolutely awesome. And some of you might want to go on the complete other end of the spectrum, and you're like, I want to create $100,000, $200,000, $1 million business out of this. That's my aspiration. That's awesome too, and everything in between, and I think that like that's a really important point, because our job, the way that we view our role here at Art Storefronts, is we're here to help all of you facilitate all of that. It doesn't matter, because it's your business at the end of the day. Like, you're going to have to make it successful. You're the one that has to get up out of bed and do things and create a good product, and connect with human beings and fill some sort of a demand with your supply. Your supply being your art is filling some demand that people want, and whether that's no sales, like you're not even selling it, it's just for you. And maybe you're giving it away to friends and family. That's awesome. Or you just want to make a couple extra grand a year, like side income, or you want to go and try to make it really good, and you're going to put a lot of time into it. It's totally up to you. You can, all of those are viable, all of those can make you happy. And like all of those are good. And art Yeah. And so back to Pat, like we're, going into the bigger picture about like how we view our role. Our role is to, because we are an art only platform, only artists and photographers. That's it. All we see is, we've
Other
got
creators too.
14,000 individual small business owners, artists and photographers that are trying to sell their art, and that are brand new, never sold anything before. Some that only want to make an extra couple grand a year, all the way up to the full time. And so in that, we get to see all of the data and all of the patterns and basically learn everything about what is working and what is not on a general level. Our job is to deliver, is to parse all of that information, understand generally where things are working and where they're not, and empower our artists with all of that information, with guides and playbooks and everything, knowing that every artist is different. They might want to price things differently. They might want to discount differently or not at all. They might want to offer merch. They might not be comfortable offering merch meaning like mugs and tote bags and things like that. Yeah, they might want to only offer originals or limited editions and not offer open edition prints. Like everybody's going to have their own unique path based on who they are, how they sell, how they want to do things, and we appreciate all that.
Yeah, and I think too, like, we're coming up on our 10th year of business, and we've gone through our own like incredible maturation process throughout this whole thing, right? And it's been extremely helpful working so closely with so many different customers, and then having our fingertips on the data and everything else. And the analogy, our job is just to parse all of the data on what's working and show our customers where the doors are, right? Like, hey, this is a door. Hey, this is a door. Hey, this is a door. The spring selling season and the fact that we've banked 10 years of data showing that we see a spike in sales on customer websites, that's us showing you the door, right? We're not telling you to go through the door or how you go through the door or what outfit you're going to wear going through the door or who you're bringing through the door with you, right? That's number one. And then number two, the other thing, and this all centers around like the, if I just knew what the best selling sizes were, or if I just knew how this one person was doing this one thing, like the sheer variety of paths that creatives and artists and photographers are taking to become successful right now are insane. There is no one way that works for everybody. There is no one way that you have to do things. There is no one written law. There's no, oh, that's how they did it, so I'm going to do that way. Like, there are so many different ways to get to where you're going. We love talking about the general themes. If you're marketing consistently, however you want to go, you're going to get there faster, right? So we center so much of our message around that marketing and doing it consistently and trying to keep people re-energized, Sharon. And I love that you say that. It's like, I don't care how they go or which way they go about doing it or what works for them. You know what I know is you're not going to figure it out if you don't do anything. Okay, if you don't do anything, right?
That's the thing. I think that's such an important point, right? Because by getting in the game, like in the spring art selling season and all of this stuff, that's how we know you're going to find the answers for what path is going to be right for you. You know what I mean? Like that, you have to get in the game and you have to try things. You have to try sizes. So you're going to have to try different sizes. You have to do it. You cannot just take just the advice from somebody else and think that that's going to work for you and your art. It's going to be a little bit different, right? And so you're ultimately gonna have to try that. You're ultimately gonna have to try different pricing. You're gonna have to try different subject matter and things like that. And so the more that we can encourage you to get in the game and just try, just ship, that, as we say, right? Which means just launch and just go and try. Rather than having your first thought to be like, I need to ask this question before I can get permission before I do this because I don't want to do the wrong thing. Whenever you have that thought in your head, you want to just go and ship it and find out from the market what actually happened. Oh, that didn't work. That literally could take one day. You can ship your idea in one social media post or an email, and then, oh, crickets, didn't work.
Don't have to do that again. Try something else.
Do it again. Didn't seem to work. Oh, I tried a new piece of content. Didn't really resonate. Guess that's the wrong direction. That's being in the game, and that's making progress. I love this saying about how a business is, when you start a business, it is as imperfect as it will ever be. And every single day that you move forward, every single tiny step you make, even if you didn't get like a sale that day, but you learned something on a social media post, it's like your business by the day is getting just one step less imperfect, you know?
Yeah.
And the job of a business is to optimize towards perfection over time. Pat, this is why it takes 5 to 10 years, right? To build any business, as Steve Jobs or Elon Musk, or go down the list of successful entrepreneurs who just, deliver that red pill. It just, because it's over that period of time and how many experiments you've ran, and just things that you did that got you data back that allowed you to eliminate things that you didn't need to do anymore that weren't going to work, and allowed you to focus more on the things that actually worked for you and your art and your business,
100%. And for those of you that are just joining, we're answering any and all questions you have. Got a great one here from Nita. And she's saying, do y'all recommend putting descriptions on pieces on the sites, or just start the giveaway and worry about the descriptions later? Worry about the descriptions later.
Worry about
you got all the time in the world to do descriptions, right?
Exactly.
And I should note, like, the descriptions on pieces is greatly helped by AI, you guys. Greatly helped by AI. And we have some documentation internally, Nita, that teaches you how to do this. But the long and the short is, like, it's really hard to start from the blank canvas, to start writing a description from scratch when there's nothing on the page at all. You upload these images to AI and you say, write a description for this. You copy that text and it just gets you going. It gets you don't use 100% of it. You end up editing it, but man, is it so helpful to say, oh wow, that is a really eloquent way of saying it. It's a really eloquent way of looking at it, right? And they go and they do that. And that's just an amazing way to be just a little bit more efficient, because guess what, guys? Not all of us are going to be epic at everything. You can't be great at creating the art, great at marketing the art, great at writing descriptions for the art, right? Great at selling the art. Like, you have to recognize the things that, like, look, I'm not good at. That is where the beauty of AI helping us out a little bit, can especially on this blank page scenario. I find it just be so helpful.
So helpful.
Yeah.
Like if you just don't know where to start, I mean, oh my gosh, like what you will get back will just, inspire your brain to, like, oh, okay, I can adjust this and I've got something now,
Yeah. And you always want to over index on more additional attention rather than any changes on your website, just generally. And
that's a great point.
Yeah. In Ifrit's realm, since there's no way is every artist's 365-day marketing strategy different. No. They're all just so similar. Like, the way to think about it is, like, let's think about a real world scenario, and let's think about, like, we're living in 17th century England. Every day, the various different vendors of that small town load up their wagons and they have to go to the town center, okay? Because that's where all the commerce is going down in the town center. You have to do that every day. That's the strategy. What you do when you're there, what you say in your booth, what your lineup looks like, right? If you've got balloons, those things change a little bit, but those things, our point is, those things only change when you get the learning yourself on what works for you and what is driving results. Okay. And what everyone does is, I wonder if I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I should give that a shot. And then nothing gets done. Nothing ever gets put in the water. And the point is that we're just trying to encourage you and motivate you to start doing the work, because that's when the learnings get there. You're going to love this one, Nick. You ready for this one?
Sure.
This is just this one, Zen Photo, this one has been a hot button issue for Nick and I for going on maybe 15 years. So I will read it, Nick, and you can go ahead. How important, Nick, are keywords on the art from Zen Photo?
Is this a search engine optimization question? Yes. Zen Photo Journey. That's what I'm. If you could drop a comment, let us know. I'm going to assume it is. It is. So we've got multiple articles on this. We always advise our artists and have for many years to not bother with search engine optimization. Why? Because we were experts in it in the early 2000s. It stopped being a good strategy in like 2010, 2011. That's the time when everybody was doing it, and it got ran over by a truck, in every way, because everybody's trying to do it. And that's when it's so funny, because in 2020, it's like 14 years later, Pat, when all of like the the people that are ahead on marketing were like, okay, not doing this anymore,
Yeah.
not bothering with this, particularly in the art world. And yet what happens? All of these companies from all over the world, reaching out to artists directly on their websites, trying to sell them search engine optimization packages, and they keep buying them. You guys don't buy them. Don't buy it. Okay. First of all, the most important point is there is absolutely no reason to buy a search engine optimization package or spend hundreds of hours, because that's what it will take to try to search engine optimize your art, if you don't have art that is already selling specifically. Okay. Like selling really well, because all you're doing is throwing a lot of money and time on art that isn't even validated. So when people, if it even got into the search engines, if they clicked, it's not going to sell anyway. So what are you doing, right? So you only want to do that as a supplemental strategy to put gas behind stuff that would be working already. No different than like buying ads. And I'm not telling anybody to buy any ads. That's like a whole different topic, right? But ads are not here to like, because you have no sales, okay? Ads should be used to pour gas on something that's already working, okay? So search engine optimization is just not a good strategy. And your time is much better spent like on Instagram, Facebook, and these social platforms, speaking directly to people, building your audience here and directly marketing to them. Like it's just the amount of the return on your time investment will be so much higher than you could ever get on that. And also, I think another point is like, there's a lot of talk over the last year about how Google is in the process of potentially being disrupted by AI. And AI will become a search engine. More people are using it as a search engine. And there could be a platform shift that even happens, right? Because this happens, a way where people are searching for things or where people are doing things will often switch to a new platform or a new technology. And then if all your eggs were in that basket, you're dead, So lots of reasons not to worry about that, but you're on this platform, you're in the right spot. There's better ways to get your art in front of more eyeballs for the amount of time you're going to put into it.
Yeah. And don't confuse what Copilot's doing with SEO. It's like the question up there is SEO important for artists and photographers? And my position is no, that it's not. And I think we have to start at a very high level. The amount of art that is purchased from someone that goes onto Google on the internet machine and types in landscape photography and then buys in that session is very, very low. I would say that's maybe 2 or 3 sales out of 100 if 100 pieces of art sell. So to begin with, there's just not a lot of buying intent, around these keywords. That's number one. Number two, SEO. I'm going to take it out of SEO and I'm going to take it to cooking because I like cooking. Let's say that I just started learning how to cook, and I understand how to blend ingredients. I understand how to get my pan hot. I understand when it needs to get the oil. And I go in there and I make a good dish. And I'm like, wow, I made a really, really good dish. I'm going to go and put this on the internet and see how I do. You're competing with a bunch of Michelin star chefs that have been cooking for 30 years and have tried every recipe under the sun. And why do I bring that up? SEO has become so difficult, that if you're not an absolute professional that has been doing it for years, the odds of you getting recognized are so extremely low, it's not even worth talking about. So we just believe it can be ignored, full stop. Like you can put stuff in on your page because it's a decent thing to do, but you can take 2 years to get it all done because we just don't see it leading to sales. So that's sort of our like long-term opinion on it.
And Zenphoto Journey, you're putting keywords in your art storefront's website on the main page and the SEO page. Like you're doing that for Copilot more than likely. That's perfect. Just do that. That's good.
Yeah. Yep. Which is awesome. And don't confuse too, like there's social SEO. Yeah, there's social SEO, and then there's like search engine optimization SEO, search engine optimization, right? Social SEO is a completely different deal. Like, are we giving Instagram hashtags? Are we writing a good description on a post? Yes, we should be doing those things because that lets Instagram's algorithm know who to show our content to. But in the search engine capacity, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Miss Mad Hatter, how does doing a video on TikTok This Nick gets a little nervous. The videos on TikTok, I would do them on Instagram first and TikTok second, just because there's a higher propensity of buyers on Instagram. But the lessons essentially apply in the same capacity, right? Like every one of these social media platforms now has these incredible algorithms. And so the idea is those algorithms are going to study the video and they are going to know, okay, they're going to know what your video is. Your job as a creator is to give it a nice description so they have some backup information to reference, and then you're covered. You know, you're absolutely covered. So,
yeah, and just how every business, like as we were talking about earlier, every art business might be a little bit unique in its own way on who its audience is and where they are and all that, you know, like it's worth it to just take one of the videos that you do on Instagram regularly or Facebook and just ship it on TikTok. See what happens. Especially if you have one that did well. That's what I would recommend, you know, is if you had a reel that did really well, for example, on Instagram, then that's a perfect one to just go throw it on TikTok and see what happens. You know, you never know.
Yeah. What else? I keep going through the book. This thing looks really nice, by the way. It makes a little page noise, which is hilarious. Yeah. But it looks nice on a phone.
Yeah, those spring success stories. Like, I mean, you know, not to like try to like. I think they're like. Have you read through those? I think they're really important. It's like it just shows. I think it's the page before that you have right now. Yeah, exactly. Like look at the very bottom one from Sari. You know, it's like people are making their first sales during the spring sale, and it's like, you know, I know Sari, like we know Sari as a member, and you know, she's been hacking away at her content and trying different things and all of that stuff. And it's like by just being in the game, she got her first sale, right? And I just think that that's so awesome, and I'm so proud of her. It's just awesome. So you're gonna see, and then you look at the one above it, like Kim Zabia, who's been a member for many years, and it's like during the spring. Like, I think it was, did she say on there? Does it say Easter? Oh, it was Mother's Day. She sold $5,000 worth of art in 1 week during the Mother's Day, you know, marketing period. And so, you know, like this is the type of stuff that you can only have happen to you if you're in the game. Does that mean everything that you're going to do is going to be perfect yet? No, not at all. You know, your business is going to be so much better in 1 year than it is today. And in 5 years, you won't even believe it. You probably won't even be selling the same subject matter, you know, or slightly different. Your follower count, your audience size, like you're gonna have so much more knowledge and an understanding about what's working in your art business and what's not, to know what type of subject matter to create, what type of, you know, places online and offline to be able to like grow your audience, to get more eyeballs on your art. So all of that is just going to change over time as you're optimizing towards perfection.
Yep. This is a great question from Azalea. So you're walking with 8x5 samples to show. Should I sell them and what price? 100% you should sell them, because we want you to get feedback, right? I'm not sure if you're walking down the street with them or if you're actually going to an art show. You might want to
everything about this I like.
Yes. But a great way to do it is show the art to somebody. Don't say anything about price at all, and say, make me an offer, and then shut up. It's like, hey Nick, have you seen my canvas of Positano? And you would give me a compliment. You would say something like,
what's a fair price?
I don't know. Make me an offer.
Yeah. That's right? It. And then just don't say anything and just let them say, I don't know, $100, you know,
yeah.
$200.
Yeah.
And then, you know, take it.
Yes.
Take the win and move on.
Yes. Picasso quote incoming. Okay. Picasso quote incoming, because I love it.
But you know what do you know what
early on, my drawings did not command high prices, but they all sold. The work must go out into the world, right? And it's a great quote. And it just means like you have to get feedback. You have to get the work in front of eyeballs, and the transaction has to happen for you to know that you're on the right track, right? Go ahead. What were you gonna say? Can you put
that quote up there one more time?
Mm-hmm.
Just want to tell you, do you know what my favorite word in this whole thing is?
Mm-hmm.
Walking.
Right?
Yeah. And and I want to just double click on that for a second.
Mhm.
I know you know why, but for everyone that's listening right now, it's because a Zell Art Shop here is getting out in person. Okay, that's what it
Mhm.
tells me. Getting out in person with real customers, like the real world, and is going to see them face to face, and is going to talk to them, and is going to see their reaction, and is going to try to see if they can make some sales, in person. Either way, whatever just the feedback alone and the experience that you will get from it in person can sometimes be a year of like
Digital
scratching
marketing.
your head online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A
Yeah,
year of like,
so true.
no, people are going to my website and nobody's buying and it's just, if you're in a nobody's buying, sometimes you just got to get out in person in a high traffic area. And you see people doing it. They just set up a booth or like a table. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
they don't even have a table oftentimes. They just lean stuff against like a traffic light, or you know what I mean? Like a trash, whatever it is, you find like something to just lean stuff against, and you just are showing stuff to people. And it's amazing what ends up happening, by just getting out there and being in the game. But sometimes like the online is tough for some people and it's not clicking, and if it
Yeah.
feels like it's not clicking for you, go walk, go get in person, go do what a Zell Art Shop is doing. I really like that because I just know how much you learn. It's just, please guys, go and do it. And you'll just remember I said that you're going to come away with insights that you did not have before you did it.
Yeah. In Zen, like, what if their offer is really low? It's sort of irrelevant to this whole scenario, right? Because what we're trying to encourage, Azalea here is to do this whole process in the first place, right? Because it's what you're going to learn. And don't contemplate the what ifs. Get to the what ifs, right?
Yeah.
The example here that it's like people spend a ton of time. It's like, well, I gotta figure out international shipping options before I take my website live, because what am I going to do when that international order comes in? And what I say is that no, you don't. Wait till the international order comes in and then go figure out shipping, right?
Right.
So you don't want to let that petrify you or terrify you, right? The whole idea of make me an offer, is this person really genuinely interested in my art, or are they just being nice? Right. And we've got to know, we've got to cut down to the meat of the bone. And a lot of times what I do when the offer is too low, okay, and especially in these scenarios where you're just getting started, say, that's probably a little bit less than I'm willing to let this go for, but what would you like to see photographed? Try to get a commission out of the deal, see if there's something else that they're more interested in. But it's really just about starting the conversation. And of course, you can negotiate if you want to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you should have a range of pricing so that when there's a low offer, you can say, actually, that's not quite what I sell these for, but let me show you what I have in your price range, right? And then you have something to show them, right?
Yeah.
Which is very, very important. Okay. So I just ordered 1,000 4x6 cards with 3 originals, QR code, my shop info, and my story. Cheap and easy to get into people's hands. Anyone that starts that starting out should read up on guerrilla advertising. That's all we do all day. It's the guerrilla advertising, Timothy. So I love it, and you can do these things through Vistaprint very, very inexpensively. And when you start really cooking with gas, Timothy, what you're going to do is you're going to put on the back of that card. Okay. You want to go guerrilla? Let's go guerrilla. I love guerrilla. Okay. I'm part guerrilla. You want to know what you do? You go to the new construction in your neighborhood. You pay some kids on rollerblades, okay? And you can find the kids on Craigslist that'll do this on rollerblades. And you say, or sometimes now they have these electric bikes that are so fast. And you say, hey, I want you to put one of these flyers in every single solitary mailbox on this new construction neighborhood and say, welcome to the neighborhood. Just as a little benefit, I'm offering a new neighbor sale, and give them the card, right? Like, you can't just get the cards. You got to make sure they get in front of eyeballs, right? Like sometimes it's Timothy's got door hangers too. Like, it's all about doing that, right? And especially Nick, if you are one of these folks that rocks your backyard. Nick lives in Austin. I live in Newport Beach. If someone has like the incredible Newport Beach photos, like, my buddy, this guy that married one of our mutual friends, this guy, Billy Colby, he's like, he went drone crazy for like a year. This guy's got some of the best shots of the harbor in Newport I've ever seen. And I'm like, Billy, pay some kids on rollerblades to either do the door hangers or do the mailbox inserts of your most beautiful photo and say, you need a photo of the harbor on your wall, right? Like you could spend $500 or $600 on that promotion and pop 10 sales, like a 10-to-1 ROI. And the unconventional guerrilla stuff is just so important. It's so important.
And there's so many places to go. Like when you just think about where is the foot traffic, there are so many places that he could go and set up on the weekends and just clean up,
Yes.
Get hundreds or thousands of eyeballs just walking by him, and it only takes one to come in there that wants to buy something. And like, that is really under leveraged strategy that I've seen, like there's on Balboa Island down there in Newport, right? There's a lot of walkers. They love to walk around that island, right? Tons of eyeballs. When I was down there the last time and I was visiting, there's a guy out there who not only did he have his art of the Balboa Island, like the harbor, the
plein air painting, doing his thing. Yeah.
But he was painting live, like painting the pavilion live, painting the harbor live, right? Yeah. So he's not only painting the content that you want right there, right in the audience. Everybody that is there is the exact audience.
100%.
Understand this, guys. Do you realize how important this is? Because most artists' problem is they have subject matter that has no demand, and you have to figure out how to have subject matter that has demand. So here this is the exact opposite of that situation. You are in the spot that you are painting with people who live there and love that area. Like you have a direct hit on all fronts,
Yeah.
Here's a great one.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Here's a great one. And Nick, we have 9 minutes until Instagram kicks us off.
Okay.
You ever remember that restaurant, the Cheesecake Factory? Did you ever go to that? Do you remember the menu they had, which was like a Bible of like 25?
There's still a few of those here in Austin.
Well, yeah. It's a miracle that they're still in business, right? So yes, you can definitely have too many, Shane. 100% you can have too many, and then it's just it's analysis paralysis, right? Like early on, don't have too many. There's not a magic number, but you'll be just fine with 30 images up, right? Or 40 images up or 50 images up. You don't need 500. You just don't. So that's like a really, really important.
But you can have like some people do, and it's fine,
Yeah.
So it's not like this is I think Pat, like, you can get away with 10 images if that's all you have. If you can get away with 2, we've had people launch with 1, at art storefronts. We've had people launch with 1 painting, right? And then move to 2 and all that. And we say, like, you think that, like, that in your brain, you're like, no, wait, I got to have like a lot more inventory and all that, because you think that it's going to increase your odds of success. And there is truth to that, but there's also truth that all you did is just waste your time because you never marketed the one piece that you had to find out if anybody even cared,
Right.
And whether you should have just shifted your subject matter right there, And so the fastest way you're going to find out what you have is by actually launching your business and marketing your business, marketing your art, getting eyeballs on it, and start getting real world feedback. So again, there's no perfect way. There's people who have thousands of images on their website, but don't let that stop you from starting. If you're a photographer, for example, and you've got 1,000 images you could realistically put on your site, like what Pat is saying is like, take your top 30 or your top 100. You just pick a number. It doesn't matter, that you think are the best, and get those up, and then launch, start marketing. Then you can always go back and upload more, but don't let like 1,000 images that need to get like, color corrected or whatever you might need to do to like be comfortable getting them on your site, hold you back from actually launching and getting in the game.
100%. 100%. And yeah, of course you can categorize and do a bunch of other things, but and Shane, awesome. Love that you love it. Like, you can take down images, add images up at any point in time, right? At any point in time. So don't stress about that. Just get going and get the feedback. The feedback is just the entire ball game, right? This is an interesting question tomorrow. Literally all over the world. She's asking, and I'll get the question up on the screen so everyone can see it. She's asking like where our ASF customers are from. I think you're saying, are you saying the people that purchase the art or the people that are on our platform? Because if it's the people that are on our platform, they're all over the world. We've got people in just about every region now. We've got people in Europe. We got people in the United States, here, there, like everywhere, right? So yeah, all over the world, all sorts of different niches, all sorts of different seasons of life, and that's like a that's a lot of why we have these learnings that we do. They're like, there's just no one way to do it, you guys. There is no one way to do it. But if you bias towards action, broadly speaking, I wouldn't even say broadly speaking. I'd say a certain truth. I don't care if we're talking about the people on our platform that have sold over $1 million, or the people that are trying to get their first sale, or the people that are in the middle, or the people that are in year 1 or year 2 or year 3 or year 4, year 5, year 6, or year 7. Every single solitary one of their businesses, even the ones at $1 million, will grow faster if they start taking their marketing more seriously.
Right.
Even the top ones I talk to, like, in marketing tends to lapse the bigger your business gets, because you get a little bit complacent, right? But all the same rules apply. Like, in this world that we live in now, which is like the creator economy, right? There are no more gatekeepers. Your eventual growth as an artist or a photographer is literally only limited to how much attention that you can get. That's it. That's why so many of these various different folks are doing so well. And you said Nita had a good comment. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, she said, my name just got out there and opportunities came. It's all just marketing.
Yeah, it's all.
My name just got out there and opportunities came, right?
Yeah,
it's all just marketing, and that is like the overarching point, right? Like, we could get into like all the details, but that's Nita hit the overarching point that we're making, and that we always make, which is, and this is why, like, every artist business will kind of take their own unique path, and we provide the guidelines to like kind of go down to allow these moments to happen, to allow these things to, like, these opportunities to come at you, right? And so just by getting out there more, more opportunities are going to arise. You're giving yourself more optionality. Okay. And you said something really earlier that I just want to say again. I know we're going to be closing this up here in a few minutes, but you said, like, the amount of time, like, if you have a decision today, like, and you're thinking like, I'm going to go change that on my website, right? And your website's up and you're live, and like, you're kind of making like a non-material change, right? It's something like, you're like, oh, I got to go, I'm going to go edit this. Or you can actually take that time and like do some marketing. In other words, like a great selfie video, a great social media post, a great email, or something like that. The difference between those two is so big. And you made such a great point on that, because one is just changing your website and nobody is probably going to even notice it. I mean, you probably are doing something that like a tiny percentage would even see, and maybe not even at all, and notice.
Yeah.
But if you actually do the marketing, you might get your art in front of 10 more sets of eyeballs today. What do you think is more important?
Yep.
It could be 20, it could be 100 more. And obviously getting your art in front of more eyeballs, over time, is the way that opportunities arise.
Yeah. And it's just this notion of sitting on the sideline. Like, our number one job is to motivate you guys, encourage you guys, and inspire you guys to take positive steps. Right. And I play this video clip all the time because it's so nice to hear someone from a different world other than ours talk about it.
A call from somebody, and this is a piece of advice that really helped me, so I hope it helps you. Do not wait around for the phone to ring for someone to make your dreams happen. You have to do something literally every single day to push your dreams forward. No one is thinking about what you want to do or how you want to do it or what the mark in the world that you want to make is. That's up to you. So you have to actually do something to make it happen. And you can do it. And you're going to do it today.
Today. All right, we have 1 minute left. Huge thanks everybody for tuning in and staying on. I wish Instagram's stream length was longer than this, which it certainly should be. Closing remarks, Nick.
Closing remarks is we have a huge deal ending in celebration of the spring selling season, guys, at Art Storefront. So if you want to join Art Storefronts, this is the time. We have a deal that ends, here tomorrow, and it is not a deal that we offer And so, all the time, it includes several things. If you're interested, request a demo, but you're going to be able to lock something in that's pretty amazing. And you're going to be up for the spring art selling season. And you're going to have all of our strategies and everything to be able to take advantage of it. And there couldn't be a better time. So I think that's the big thing.
Okay. We will leave it there. You guys, thanks everybody. If you're a customer, we'll see you in the special workshop today. What is the title for it, by the way?
Spring selling season, I think.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fire session. We got some really fun stuff cooked up. So can't wait to see you guys for all of that. Nick, thanks for your time, and see everybody on a future stream.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.